Happy Friday. How you guys doing? Me and my bigger in size co-host. We'll get to there. Is that woman power? Is that what it is?
That
Women
was just
power?
me. I'm just, you gotta watch out today. I'm just in a mood. I'm good to go.
Let's nail it.
I might start cursing like a pirate and throwing stuff. I don't know, but we're gonna have a fun one today.
We'll have
Be good.
fun, and this one, hopefully, YouTube doesn't shut us off because
No,
of
no.
your attitude. So, guys, if you want to join us, viralconnectivity.com is the place to be. Come and talk to us about how much does it cost to start a business. So, not start a business, run a business.
To
Hope
run your
to
business,
run your
right?
business, right? Yeah. So,
Do you do like is it are you at that level? Can you tell I want to get right into it because I love learning
yeah,
this
no,
stuff.
yeah.
Are you at that level where you like have spreadsheets and 80/20 analyses and all that kind of stuff?
No, I should be.
No,
I
thank
should
God.
definitely be. I
It's gonna
should.
make me feel
I
really
actually got
inadequate.
QuickBooks finally, and I'm like, okay, I should look at this more often. Then I'm not, right? But the one thing
Yeah.
that I did learn from Kingsley Charles when I took his Wealthy CEO class is follow the book Profits First. Have you heard of that book?
No.
So, profit first is an idea that most entrepreneurs are not following. And he's talking about the fact that way back when, right, way back in the Depression time, you would get your salary and you'll have different envelopes. One will be for rent, one will be for food, one will be for, clothes, one will be for whatever. And you put the money
Yeah.
in there, right? And at the end of the month, you would go and you would pay just whatever you have in that envelope. So if there's no more money for food in the envelopes, no more money for food. And so now he's talking about the challenge with most entrepreneurs and business owners is that first they get the money, they have $10,000 in their bank account, they're going like, woohoo, I have $10,000 in my bank account. And let me spend all that money because I got it, right? And then what happens? They go, they find expenses, they spend that money, and now there's nothing left at the end of the month. And so Profit First talks about the fact that first you pay yourself the profit. So you take 10% and you put that in a bank account that you can never touch for the next 3 years, unless something major, a disaster, Corona happens. So you put that money back in the side. And then you take up 30% and you put it in a tax account. And then whatever's left, that's what you're running your business and your life over. So you always have you get used to put the profits aside, make sure that you get profits from the business, put the taxes aside so you're not getting stuck with that. And then whatever is left, then you're going to use that. And what's nice with that is that we always use what we have, right? So if you only have, right, like $5,000 now instead of 10, you're going to make things work and you're going to become more efficient and you're going to run your business a little better because that's the money you have. There's no more money.
It's so much easier if I'll tell you, I did that in the early part of my life when
Uh-huh.
I first got out of college. I worked as a teacher, and we were talking about this last episode, right? And I was living paycheck to paycheck, so I couldn't do it. But as soon as I got out of that job and I got into my university job, I got myself a financial advisor, and that was the first thing she made me do. And I used to have jars. I had 3 cups.
Yep.
I had a grocery cup, and I had a gas cup, and I did it with cash back then. And now we don't
That's the
live on
problem.
cash, and it's a really weirder experience to simulate that model that you're talking about. But I still
Yeah.
think I very quickly, when I was doing that in my mid 20s, I removed all my debt. I had money in the bank. I could take within going from I'm a poor teacher living paycheck to paycheck. Within a few years, I could take vacations and I had no debt, and it was amazing. It was really great.
Yeah, and it's a tough one to follow because when you see $2,000 in the profit saving margin thing, then you are automatically you're like, okay, well, if I need to, I got $2,000. And that's why the idea is that you don't put it in your checking or your saving or your money market. You go to a different bank and you open a different account and you put the money there and you never see it. Um, and Kimberly is saying, I like the hat, Paul.
Thanks, Kim. It's because I'm freezing.
Are you really?
My office is in my basement. You know, it's an extra room I had in my basement.
That's why
It
you
has
don't
a
have internet.
window and everything. I can see out, but it's a concrete, like a concrete floor and concrete wall. And yeah, it gets a little cold in here. And you know, it snowed yesterday in New Hampshire, and so it's still kind of cold today. And so yeah, I'm a little cold, but I'm all right. I'm good.
Complain, complain, complain.
I know.
She's saying
So
that,
wait, so let's
yeah.
regroup though. Let's regroup. So do you do that now actively?
So I did, and I followed it for like 3 months, and then my own Corona happened, and I tapped into it.
Ah,
Yeah, and but now I'm getting back, right? So
you're
it's like,
resetting.
entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's the idea. That's the idea is like, put the taxes aside, put the profits aside, and then what happens in your mind, you start going like, I'm paying myself first. I'm paying myself first, right? Profit first. I am making money, and your self-esteem goes up a little bit, and you become a better manager. So I just got QuickBooks, so this should flow a little better.
Yeah.
But I'm not at the point where I have books and everything's organized and all that jazz.
What? Tell me, like you. I think of you as largely running a consulting business, right? Like you consult with people and help them work on their brand and their messaging and attracting audience and stuff. So I don't think of you as like having a lot of overhead costs. Like what does it take to run your business?
So I love that you think about me as a consultant, and a consultant life would be fantastic. Because that means we don't have to do half the shit we do. Um, but no, we are an agency, and we provide done for you services to thought leaders, service providers, anyone that has a high ticket item, which is $3,000 and up, and they have an audience of about 5,000 people and up. So if they have a CRM and they have a list, and most of their people are not engaging and not active, then we can come in and we can help them get visibility, increase their conversions by 5 to 10% without paying for new leads, and free their time so they don't have to learn how to do all these things that I've spent years learning. They can just focus on serving their clients, building the business. Yeah, go ahead.
So it's cool. It's cool, and I'm not. I'm so. But I mean, we're talking computers and software here. You don't have a studio. You don't
I
have
do.
a big. Do you have an office, or do you work out of your
So
home?
I do work out of my home, but I have a completely dedicated. I actually turned my bedroom into my studio, because I have, like, if I can show you, I got lights everywhere, and I got the
Yeah.
green screen, and I got all that jazz. So the first thing that goes into doing all that stuff is hardware. I got like 3 monitors. I got a high-end computer PC that can actually run and process all the video productions that we're doing in high speed. I got a graphic card that can process that, and it's not going to be on the motherboard. Lights, microphones, camera. Why are you laughing?
Yeah. So how often do you have to I mean, you've been doing this for years. Do you have to update that stuff a lot?
I
You
do.
go for a
I
lot of
do.
new shiny toys, or are
I
you
do.
able to get years out of that stuff?
So I just bought a new hard drive, replacing my regular one with SSD. If you don't know what it is, SSD is the one that doesn't have those plates that spin. It's just like a hard, solid drive that's supposed to work faster. Um, supposed to,
Keyword
and
supposed to.
supposed to. We'll see. What
They usually do, though.
they
My
usually
new
do?
computer has one. It's amazing how fast it boots up. It's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and so then I had to go and buy Microsoft Windows, right? And now I have to update my laptop, because I sometimes work on my laptop, and I have to do, streaming from my laptop. And so that needed a new hard drive, and that needed a new Windows. And there's memory, and the software always updates. And there are, like, if we're talking about software and services, we got email, we got hosting. I'm running a server that runs all the distribution for all the content we're creating for people. I'm having professional software like Adobe Photoshop and Premiere and Canva and Camtasia and DocHub to sign documents and invoices and all that stuff. Hivedesk to see how my team is doing and what they're doing. Paying for domain, paying for fiber, because speed envy.
Seriously. Seriously.
But you got to pay for that, right? Ain't cheap.
Yeah. Well, I can't even pay for it. I can't get it. At least you can get it. Like it's not even an option here, but you do, thankfully.
I know.
What's your
Yeah.
biggest, what's your biggest cost for running your business? Is it your team?
Actually, my team is not that bad. Mostly it's the services and the software that I have to pay for. So to stream everywhere, that's about $500 a year. Access to Canva and the accounting software and the
It all adds up.
yeah, all that stuff. But everybody, like, I think, once you start work, and then, I'm sorry, I'm not going back. We have the WordPress themes, right, that we both bought. We have the software that we use to run. And then when something new comes up, like I have to pay for Zoom Pro, I can go with with the free version, like people who
Right.
don't do this stuff can. So so what's nice about this is that I get to use and play with all these tools, right? And I get to be always on the cutting edge. And this is what you keep telling me about. Like, I don't care about the cutting edge. I just want to know, like, I want something that works and that's it. I don't care about all the other stuff.
Well, in fairness to you, like, and to me, I do care. I'm curious and interested about where the cutting edge is, but I just make a real, I always try to bring myself to my business as much as I can. And I determined years ago that I was not going to be one of the people, this is the easiest metaphor, who needed to go out and get the new iPhone every time.
Yeah.
And so it's that same instinct through my business is just because there's a new shiny thing, I'm like, that doesn't mean I need to go get it. And I have a bias where that's why I give you a hard time because I'm like, you're always chasing the next shiny thing. But what you also do because of that is I constantly learn about things that I would not have even known existed if it wasn't for you. So you're bringing a value to your people, through that thing you do where you are always scanning and looking for that next thing. And you're also doing it a lot of times for stuff that doesn't even cost anything. You're finding the free stuff too.
Yeah, I do. Yeah. So one of the things that you're talking about like learning from other people, I just calculated in the last 2 years, I spent about $30,000 on about mentorship, masterminds, courses. So when you're talking about learning from other people who have gone through all that stuff, this is what people provide for their clients, right? Like all these years of experience of like, I tried this, this is like that, this doesn't work, this works like this. So
how many masterminds have you done?
That I've paid for and registered for.
Just done like both. Yes.
Hey, Blair Warner, he's here. Coming in, hopping in. Before I answer that, and Kimberly says there's a difference between owning a business versus owning a physical business. I've owned a business online and a physical business. So hop on in and tell us because we want to know the difference. How many masterminds have I done? I believe 5. 5? Yeah.
5.
And here's what I learned about masterminds. You want to hear? I'm going to save you guys a lot of money with masterminds. If you want to connect to the people in those masterminds, there's this thing called Google and LinkedIn and Facebook. And all you have to do is go find the people that you want to connect with, engage with them, like follow them, right? And start commenting on their stuff. And then after you comment and you start building relationships in their on their post and all the information that they're saying, start figuring out what they need and send them people. Right? Try to start helping them with whatever they need, they're trying to achieve. And before you know it, you have a fantastic relationship with people that you would only meet in masterminds. So people go to masterminds to build those relationships. You don't have to go all the way there to build a relationship. You can use the intranet, the beautiful Google and the LinkedIn and the Facebook. And you can use all those tools to connect with the people that you want to. So you don't have to pay the money to be in a mastermind. They're usually about $10,000, $25,000, $35,000. You don't have to take 5 days out of your week every quarter to fly over, just to sit next to someone, exchange business cards. And then when you leave the mastermind, you're going to have to do all that all over again. You're going to have to start building the relationship outside of the 3 days that you were there. So Diane says, thanks, Yifat, for that insight. You're welcome. Hop on in, Diane. She's watching us on YouTube. So save yourself the time and the money for the mastermind. You can go and find those in meetups. You can find them online, and you can, meetups online and in like your local chambers. It's all about relationship, and relationship take time. And you invest in the relationship, whether online or offline, you'll get the same type of results. So your question was?
We need to have an episode though, we thought, where we really drill deeper on masterminds, because there's different kinds of masterminds, and there's actually a lot to talk about there, don't you think?
Well, I have not yet been in a mastermind that didn't require me to follow up and build a relationship. So if you think that if you're going to go to a mastermind, and you're going to come out of it with like 2 clients right away, doesn't happen.
Right.
Because people
Right.
they like to know you and trust you. So you have to come for like a few meetings, and then they need to see you work with someone else. And then they need to talk to that someone else. And then they need to make sure that this is right for you and them and the timing and all that jazz. So if you have a year and $25,000, I'm sorry, more, because you're going to have to travel and take time away from your business and all that stuff. So if you have a year
Right.
and about $35,000, then joining a mastermind could be a good idea, because you can meet people. Or you can have a show like I'm doing and have these people come on your show and build relationship with them just like that. Much cheaper, much easier, and you don't have to travel.
So let's get back to costs then. So if you're not advocating that, like where's the best use of your money?
The best use of my money
Yeah,
is
never
my
mind
team.
whether it's just like I have to spend it. There's no, but like taking that stuff out, just like where's the stuff where you're like, oh my God, the best use of my money, where I'm like, I feel like I should even spend more, but I don't have to. But the best use of my money is,
Probably my team.
yeah,
My team, because my team, like, first of all, they're amazing, amazing. I love, like, I feel every morning when I wake up, I'm like, I am so lucky to have these guys in my life. They're not just employees; they feel like they're a part of the business, and they care, and they're looking into stuff, and they're thinking. So I am super amazed by them and really, really grateful. And so I want, if I can spend more money, I would spend more money on either paying them or buying them any courses that they want or helping them advance their skills. I would actually have a retreat. We already talked about this. We all want to go to Bulgaria. They have spas, like week-long spas, which it's an entire resort, and all you do is like you sit in a spa and you talk about stuff. So I would love to take my team to like a week retreat kind of
that's
thing
cool.
and do that stuff. But when you have a great team, that is amazing. That allows you the headspace to kind of like, okay, I can go and get more business. I can scale. I can count on them. I can go on vacation. I can take a sick day, right? They'll run the business without me because they know what to do. Software and stuff like that, like you said, there's always going to be something new, right? There's always going to be more. There's always something's always going to break. Um, don't we know
True.
it?
It's just true. It's sad, but it's the way it is, right? Like,
Yeah. So,
where's
yeah, go ahead.
where's the next, like when you get to that next earning level, how will you allocate money for something in a way that you never have before?
Ooh, that's a good question. Um, here's my, I'll be completely honest. I used to think that if I had more money, I would put it in advertising and try my hands with Google ads or Facebook ads or YouTube ads. But I am taking Roland Fraser's Epic Challenge, which teaches you how to acquire businesses with no money out of pocket. And that changed my thinking of like, why would I put my money into ads where I don't know what's going to happen with it, rather than going and buy an audience that I know what's going to happen with it. So if I have more money, even though this is nothing out of pocket, but it's still something I don't know, right? Like this is new to me, so I don't know how that's going to work. But I think that will be the next thing, is like buying buying features and buying I don't know, methods, word, yeah, something that allows the business to scale, right? So more clients in an audience and more companies to service that audience, maybe.
If people want to learn how to do better analysis, because you already admitted you don't do this, and I don't do it very much. I do it a little, but like, how do you get, if you wanted to start trying to figure out how to like just use your money better, what would you do in your existing system of your business? Like,
How to use my money better?
yeah.
So I have to track it, right? I have to start using QuickBooks better, and I have to start looking at the numbers. Which, like I spoke to, go ahead. What? You had something.
I have, you can see it on my face,
Yeah.
right? I have a total love-hate relationship with QuickBooks.
Yeah.
I have days where I'm like, if I could burn QuickBooks to the ground, I would.
It's
But
true, yeah.
it's just a frustration. So like I used to have, QuickBooks used to sell QuickBooks for Mac, and you could just have it on your computer. You buy it one time and you had it.
Yep.
And then they phased it out.
Yep.
And they told me I had to go to online. And now I spend so much more to have it online, and it doesn't do anything more for me than it did when I had it on my computer. It just drives me crazy. It feels
Yeah.
like such an unnecessary cost, but there aren't a lot of other options. I looked into FreshBooks.
Yeah.
They're about the same. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. Are there other options anyone knows about?
So the reason
Drop
why
it.
I'm using QuickBooks is
I would
because
look for
so I'm really, really bad about taking notes and like tracking all my expenses and all that stuff. So I put an app in my phone that the minute I get into my car, it starts tracking my mileage. And because it starts tracking my mileage, then it also reminds me like, oh, you bought something, put the receipt, right? But it's not a software. It's not an accounting ad. It's just a mileage tracker and then an expense tracker. So now I need something to say, okay, now that I have all the numbers, because it automatically collects them, what does that mean? And that app connects to QuickBooks. And I was like, well, and TurboTax connects to QuickBooks. And so what's up? So Kimberly is saying, it surprises me how many people don't realize that they can gain access to what they need without spending a fortune. So true. So true, Kimberly. There's this thing called, what do you call that? That, search engine thingy. What do you call that?
Google?
That's like, yeah. What?
Or the other one, YouTube.
No, the other
Oh,
one.
I just said Google, and now my phone's
Yeah,
talking.
I didn't hear the Google. Yeah, that Google thing, right? Where you can just go into it and you're like, oh, I have a problem, and it gives you the answers. Like, how do you upload stuff to Drive?
But here's the challenge of the age we live in, though, that I do think about for people. This is a recurring theme in my life. So often, I have people who say to me, did you read this book? Did you see this movie? Did you see this TV show? Do you listen to this musical artist? And it comes right down to, like, the bigger theme is we live in an age in which there has been so much creation, and there continues to be so much creation on a daily basis that it has far outscaled our little brains.
Yeah.
So I think even Google, Yifat, is like one of those things where I think for a lot of people, they go to Google and they search, and the things that come up that they feel they have to sift through
Yeah.
to get the best, you'd like to think if it comes up on first page, it's the best option, right? But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's some old ass article from 7 years ago that isn't the best thing to read anymore. Or like YouTube, you go on YouTube and you go, how do I do this? And you'll get a video that's 2 years old, and now Google has changed the formatting, and that video actually doesn't work anymore, but it's still on YouTube. So
let's see if I can share my screen. Does that work? Yes. Okay. So if I go to Google and I say how to create, oh, there you go. This is what I searched for today. How to install Windows 10 from a USB, because I just bought hard drive and Windows 10. I was like, how am I going to do this, right? So you got this little blob that pops up here, and you have 395 million results that you have to sift through, right? So this is the biggest
Right.
challenge at the beginning, right? But then you look in here and you see the dates. 2016, 2015, 2017.
See,
Okay,
so that's
right?
a great example. That's what I'm talking about. The
Exactly.
best of those three is from 3 years ago.
So let me show you a secret. There's this thing here called tools.
I love secrets.
You click on tools and you go like anytime and you can say in the past month, in the past year, in the past week, and now you get the most recent results, right here, how to fix Windows, how to install.
Why doesn't it just do that as a default?
Because it goes to the most trafficked and most but it's not, but I mean, like, okay, so do you,
We started this, now I'm back to it. Started with the angry fist, back to it again. See, I feel for you people. I know there's people out there that I'm like, I like to think I'm pretty good with tech. Like, I'm decent, and I still don't know about some of this stuff. Thank you, Yifat, for showing us that.
You're very welcome. This is why I spend thousands of dollars on mentorship and tools and all that stuff, so you don't have to. But the thing is, it's a funny, okay, so let's go philosophical. Do you want to go philosophical for a second?
Sure.
The problem, right, with Google and search results. Oh, Kimberly says, thanks for that tip. You're welcome, Kimberly. High five. The problem with search results and all that stuff, right? It's exactly what you're saying. If people are not digging deep enough, right? Whatever comes up in the first page, that's the truth, right? Or if you go to Alexa and you go like, Alexa, what blah, 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 and whatever Alexa says,
Alexa, cancel.
But that's
Alexa,
the truth.
cancel. She heard
That's
you.
the truth, right? And so that's the problem. The problem is that the information that you're getting is not necessarily the information that you need or you want or the correct one or the one that you should take action on. And for that, what you need is a good mentor or a friend or someone who's geeky and go like, no, this is not it. So have that mentor. If you don't have, like, you know, we talked about it yesterday. Find a good mentor, find a good program, find a good person to kind of like hold you by the hand and help you out. Because
we're going to keep talking about it because I still swear it's the biggest thing missing from the world of small business. There are millions of small business owners out there who are trying to do it all themselves, and that's crazy. It's just crazy.
Hey, Diane.
Hi.
So you're one of those million people in the world who's trying to do it all by herself?
Yes.
Are you going crazy?
Yes. I'm just like Paul. Love hate with QuickBooks.
You're doing accounting,
I use
no?
Quick.
Aren't you accounting? You're doing accounting, right?
Yes.
And you don't like?
I mean, for our home business, we're self-employed, and so I have actually I've got 3 businesses, and probably going to add a 4th to QuickBooks, but. The love hate is, yeah, they keep raising the cost. They force you to upgrade every so many years, which is utterly ridiculous, especially for a small business like ours, where there's just 2 employees, and that's tough. You pay a lot of money out for, and it does a great job. Don't get me wrong.
That's the hard part, right, Diane?
That's the hard part.
It does everything you need it to do and more, really. It does way more than I need it to do.
Yes.
So from their side, they go, look, we built this thing that does more than you need it to. What are you complaining about? And I'm like, what I'm complaining about is that you gave me an introductory offer of $9 a month. Then you moved me up 6 months later to $15 a month. Then 6 months later, you moved me up to $25 a month. Like, you just keep, and I'm like, come on. Like,
I got in early when you just bought QuickBooks, and I didn't do the monthly subscription yet. I'm just not on board with that, and probably for the same reason what's happening to you. I take it that's a subscription.
Yeah, they've got me on a subscription based. Yeah. It was
No
so, I
good.
mean, so I've spent more in the past year and a half than I spent on QuickBooks the previous 6 years combined.
Yeah. I'm still paying like about, well, I upgrade. I try to hold out as long as I can. And then once I upgrade, it's probably costing me about $200-300. And then I pay also for a payroll subscription on top of that,
Right.
which is outlandish. To pay about $300 a year for 2 of us, but it does everything I need.
Yeah.
You know,
And
the
it
challenge
does it
with that-
fast. And Huh?
the challenge is that it's software, right? And operating systems change, and servers change, and protocols change, and so they probably have like a huge team of support and
Yep.
development and marketing and integration and all
Yep.
that stuff. And they're like, okay, how do we continue to provide a good, it's a balance. How do we continue to provide a great service and a tool that everybody
I don't know.
needs that's compatible with everything?
I find flaws all the time in their software. I'm pretty
Yeah, it's
tired
tough,
of
right?
it. What?
It's tough. It's tough to, as a business, or like, okay, so for me, we're providing high end services for people, right? We're not cheap. But what you get with us is you get an entire team and the knowledge and the software and everything that we've spent, years and money and profit and all that stuff to be able to provide you the results that we want. So you can go to $98 and get them to post for you, twice a day. It's not going to do much, right? Like it's not going to move the needle anywhere. Or you can hire your own team and train them and take the expenses that we have and learn how to use all that stuff. Or you can pay someone who already knows, who already has it done, already has it set. But there's a cost that comes to that, right? There's team, there's the management, all that stuff. So it's a balance, I think, especially for small business owners. It's like, how do I stay competitive, right? And provide value. And what I found is that it's never about the price, right? It's about the value. So you'll never leave QuickBooks because of the value that it gives you. It saves you so much time that you would spend on other things.
Yeah. And I did go out just this year because I thought it's been a long time since I've gone out there and looked to see what's new. And I looked at all the other software programs out there, and they don't do what QuickBooks does. I mean, you're right, Paul.
That's the thing, if you're a reasonable person, like you clearly are, Diane, you do look at it both ways, but you just can't help that one part of you goes, while the other part of you sort of gets it, like.
Yeah.
It's a challenge, but that's, someone was saying yesterday, I think Leland posted it on Facebook and said, do you want quick money? Go get a job because they'll give you a paycheck right away, right? As a business owner, you have all these extra things that you need to know, and you have employees and you have customers like, Diane, that are looking up to you, and you have to serve them because otherwise bad marketing. So it's a little harder even than having a job, and it costs more. So, so that's one of the problems with the get rich quick ideas that we see online, and people are like, well, I'm just gonna open a business and get it made, right?
Yeah. Well, the other option is hire an accountant, but I'm in a small town, and one day I asked one of my clients, since I do massage and body work, and she has a small business, and they have maybe probably less than 10 employees. And I asked her, I said, what do you do for payroll? And they told me that they send it into their accountant every 2 weeks. And I said, well, how much does that cost? I was just curious, because I'm weighing out how much I'm paying with QuickBooks, right?
Yeah.
and I couldn't believe what she said. I mean, this was a while back when I asked her, but it was very expensive. And I was like
how
okay.
How expensive?
QuickBooks, you're fine.
What was it? Like $1,000 a month or more than that?
No, it wasn't that much. They had less than 10 employees, but it takes me like 2 minutes to do our payroll because there's two of us, It takes me no time at all to do our payroll. And here she was sending this data to an accountant, and then they were probably handwriting or printing out a check and sending it to the employee. And I think it was costing them, hundreds. I think it was a couple $100 or something for 10 employees. I was like, oh my gosh. I mean, it was an auto body shop, mechanic shop.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're taking the human time, right? To actually go over it.
But it would take me like to do 10 people on QuickBooks payroll. It would take me like 5 minutes.
So maybe you're right. Maybe they're not using QuickBooks. But here's the
I don't know what they were using. She just said she sent it out, and I'm like, well, okay, you could pay for that in, the whole year in QuickBooks.
Right.
In one save the money.
Yeah.
I was like, wow. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain.
Right. So there you go. You found a tool that is expensive. Like Restream is very expensive in my mind, in my opinion. Their levels are very high. Active Campaign can become expensive if you have more people on your subscription list. But you're paying for tools that are working, and they're working. They're helping you grow the business, and you can expense them at the end of the year, right? So
Yeah.
at the end of the year, like you can write all this stuff off, and you maybe make some money back. Who knows? Hopefully you don't, right? This is the funny thing. I was talking to Kingsley, and when we were talking about taxes and how not to pay so much taxes, he goes like, look, if you're paying taxes, that's good. That means you have profit, right?
Yes.
You don't want to get to a point where it's like, I don't have anything left, and then I'm running a business in the red, but I didn't pay taxes.
Yeah.
Well, and it's funny, the way in which we emotionally respond to things. I remember when I was young and I got my first jobs, I loved that feeling at the end of the tax season when you would get a check back from the government.
Right.
And then finally I realized, right, like that's just me giving me back my own money. Like,
Right.
so for years now, I've always run my business so that I end up having to cut them a check at the end of tax year, right? And be like, all right, now I know the final amount that I owe you, I'll square up with you and that's fine. But like, why shouldn't I get to just hold my own money? But so many people love that feeling, and they actually prioritize that feeling of I'm getting money back. And you're like, dude, it was already your money.
Your money.
It's true.
Yeah.
So as running a business, right, running a small business, there are a lot of expenses that you might not think about, like a team, like servers, like software, like hardware that you need to change. Lawyers, I have to pay lawyers. If you need a financial advisor as you start to grow in scale. So even if you're working from your own home, there are expenses that you have to pay in order to grow your business. You can do it all on your own, but then it's not really a business, it's more of a job. So leveraging, it's true, right? Like, okay, I can't leave because if I leave, no money comes in because there's no one else to take care of it. It's not automated, it's not running. And I'm not talking about like sitting on the shore drinking Mai Tais. Mai Tais? Muay Thais? Something. Drinking.
Very different things. One you drink, the other kicks you in the head. So
that's right.
Be
Mai
clear
Tais.
about which one you're going for there.
Especially when you're on the shore. I can't say the other word.
Mai Tai. Mai
Mai Tai.
Tai. Muay Thai. Totally different.
So we're not talking about that type of business, right? Because that type of business is usually just an internet dream that nobody's living. Everybody that's making a lot of money or anyone who has a real business is actually working the business. They're scaling it, they're working it, they're in it, right? But they can take vacation because they have systems and operations and a team that can take the slack when they're away, but they're never going to be like completely out of the business and let the business run on its own unless they have someone managing it, right? But that's a team. So when you're thinking about like, hey, how much is it going to cost to start my own business? Well, you're going to have, if you're doing it online, you're going to have all the software and all the internet cost and all the accounting cost and all the hardware cost. If you're doing it brick and mortar, you're going to have overheads, and you're going to have, Dan, do you have a brick and mortar? No, right?
Yes, I don't. I work from home. My husband has a plumbing shop. It's not open for traffic. It's just where he stores all of his supplies and loads his truck and receives parts and stuff. So and then we have another building. We have another property too that we use for storage and stuff. So
you do have overhead, right? You have that stuff. Yeah. So do you find that owning a retail business is a little bit more complicated than online business?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's maybe not really complicated. It's just more expensive.
More expensive. Yeah. Yeah. Totally. And Paul, you have both, right? Well, you don't have a brick and mortar, but you are a traveling hypnosis.
Yeah. So I don't really have a brick and mortar. No. And I don't maintain a public office or anything. I work out of my home on all aspects of my business. The biggest cost for me is travel when right now it's not, but when I'm really in normal situation, I have a tremendous amount of travel costs flying all over the country to perform for colleges and corporations and
So you're
stuff.
not getting that back? Like they're not paying for the travel?
Well, I mean, that's that classic thing of it's built into the price, but you still have to, it's still a cost, like you don't just get to have it all. You got to pay it.
Well, but if
So
it's built into the price, then like if you say, hey, I want to make 5K for my thing and it costs me 1,000, so you guys pay 6,000, so you're not having to pay for travel. They pay for
you're
it.
still paying for travel because they're giving you the money and you're spending it on travel. It's still, no matter what, that money, you don't get to keep it all. You know
But
what I
would they
mean?
give you
Like,
more? Like if you said, hey, like could you just raise your fees and be like, hey, this is 7K and
so what typically happens is this is often what happens is you're both eating a little bit of the cost. You know what I mean? Like if they're clearly aware that they're paying for all of it themselves, then they're going to feel like they're not getting a good deal. So what in the entertainment market, it used to be in the old days, like, I would say probably 20, 25 years ago, you'd get a performance fee. And then the person that booked you, they would book your airfare and get you a hotel and get you a rental car or a limousine or whatever. And as our consumer-oriented, customer service-oriented culture kept expanding, more and more people were like, why should I have to bother with that? And so what became more and more appealing was to quote your clients one all-inclusive price. Right? And think about like resorts,
Yeah.
right? Same thing. We love to go to all-inclusive resorts.
Right.
So the less I have to deal with, the better. And so that's what it became the norm, that what you do is you quote one price and it covers everything. So of course my agent is building my travel costs into that price, but still, like I gotta pay for that stuff. Like you can't make them pay for all of it because you'd price yourself out. You're competing against other people.
Yeah. So travel, but you get to travel.
Yeah, which is cool.
Yeah, it's really nice. So in conclusion, what does it take and why do people price themselves the way they do is sometimes like the reason why, I think it's important is because a lot of people right now are looking at celebrities or athletes or singers or performers and going like, why are you crying right now, right? You're a multimillionaire, you're sitting in your mansion, why are you crying over not being able to make money? And my first thought was like, well, you can't tell someone not to feel sad about something that's hurting them. So just because you feel like you're losing less, that doesn't mean that they're not hurting just as much. And second of all, when you have more income, you have more expenses, usually, right? And those people are paying for other people, right? They have employees, they have other people depending on them. So it's not like, oh, poor you stopped traveling and performing, Paul. So why are you crying, right? And it's a very interesting idea and concept that's happening right now where people are judging other people by what they conceive to be their issue, right? Like, oh, you're a millionaire, so you should not be bitching about, not be working. And so just so running a business, regardless of whatever business it is that you're running, costs a lot more than usually it seems from the outside to run. And with that,
Yeah, and right now we're not able to do the things that we want to do. I went through the same thing this past month. I probably sat around for 3 weeks because I didn't know what to do. I mean, there was tons to do, but I didn't want to do that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like QuickBooks work and stuff. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know. It just took me a while to kind of come back to focus and kind of start to sit down and get some work done. It hurts us all. It doesn't matter whether you have money or not. The entertainers or the star or whoever it is, the celebrity, they're not able to do the things they love to do too. Just like Paul, he's not able to get out and do the things unless we're doing it online. Like Yifat. And so Yifat's out here having a great time. And so here I am. Yeah. Why not? I'll join you.
Yeah. It's super cool. Paul, you were saying something?
I was just going to say it's I don't want anyone to feel sorry for me because I'm fine, but it is one of the strange things about my form of entertainment is whereas you see like famous comedians are now doing they're going online and they're doing online comedy, and musicians are
Right.
playing to try to lift people's spirits. As a hypnotist, because I need to hypnotize other people and be able to manage them in person in that situation, I can't do shows online. I mean, I could
You
sort
hypnotized
of, but
me.
it's a little weird. Like it's not as simple as let me just tell you my jokes and have a live online audience. Like you really do. I would feel better if I could physically manage
Yeah.
them if I needed to.
Just so you know, it's not easy for those entertainers either. Did you see what's his name, Bill Maher, now adding fake laughs in it?
Yeah,
Oh
because
man.
they feel weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not easy for any of them. And I read an article that said that Trevor Noah is not that funny without an audience. Like he really needs someone to bounce things off.
Yeah. There's
Well,
Right.
that
there's an
the
energy that,
transference.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, right? Which is why I keep saying, people, don't just broadcast, engage. So much easier. You got the proof right there with late night shows. So, weekend plans. What are we going to do for the weekend?
I'm gonna work.
You going to work?
I'm actually gonna work. I'm gonna mow my lawn. As
In the
cold as it
snow?
has been, it's been just warm enough that now my lawn is alive, and I need to get my lawn mowed. So a little bit of outdoor time would do me good. But yeah, I'm still building stuff. I gotta try to do this pivot away from the entertainment business I had, which I still technically have, but it's dormant right now, and
Yeah.
and working on the other side of things.
Diane, what are you going to do?
That's kind of the same thing. I'm going to sit down and get focused on how to convert from, hands-on, which is what I do, body work, to teaching or taking that online. So I have a lot of work to do there. So
Awesome. So, I'm going to be
yeah.
the one doing your last Sunday, Paul, and I'm just going to take time with my son. No work
Nice,
for
good
me.
for you.
Yeah, no work for me.
Good.
So,
Yay.
we're gonna see you all on Monday with another episode of We decided we're gonna be the naked truth. We just don't have domains. That's it. That's what happens, right? You come up with a name, and the only name that you can have is whatever's available on the Googles.
On the Googles.
On the Googles. That's my new name.
Hey, we hope you all have a good weekend.
Hopefully, you have a good weekend.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks, Paul.
Diane.
Thanks, Yifat.